Hey everyone, this is me, the Viking, and this is Thieves Den. Thieves Den is a game for 2 to 5 players in which each player is going to be a master thief that is in charge of their own Thieves Den. This game from designer Alice Davis is set in the same world as a previous Daily Magic games, because this is going to be published by Daily Magic Games. A game that I really liked. You can go check out that old review if you like, called 10 Minute Heist. So I just want to say that I really enjoy when game companies kind of create their own like little worlds, right? And then they build those games in that world. It kind of has a sense of continuity, and it also feels like a nice comfortable pair of shoes when you put them on, if you will. But this is a really cool worker placement game in which the players are actually going to be drafting the different like worker placement locations that are going to be available for each round of the game. They will draft those locations. They will put those in front of them as like their like targets, if you will. And since those are the ones that like maybe they're scoping out, they're looking for, they're casing the joint, as it's said. If other players come and you rob from them, because they do that, one, the player who put that card out, unfortunately, won't be able to claim, won't be able to go and steal from that themselves, but they're going to get like kind of a compensatory reward automatically when the other person does. It's kind of like you did all the work, as figuring out how to rob from that monastery. So when somebody else comes up and they're like going to rob it, you're like, hey, I'll let you do it, but you need to give me one of these. And so you're going to get like kind of a kickback, if you will. The game is going to last 3 rounds, and after the 3 rounds, obviously the person who has the most points will be declared like the master thief of the town, and you'll be able to then, I don't know, lord it over everyone else and be proclaimed as the grandest rogue of them all. But alright, let me show you how the game is played, and then we'll come back here and I'll give you my final thoughts on Thieves Den. Alright, so here we go. This is Thieves Den. I'm going to show you how the game is played, but first I'm going to go over a few things that you're seeing. Also keep in mind that while this art is what the game is going to look like when it gets published, the components and what you see in front of you may look slightly different because this is a prototype that I was sent. But what you have in front of you here is the player board. And while this is a worker placement game, well, technically it is a thief placement game, there's a couple things that are different. The number of workers you have is they're kind of like, the workers are all going to be these black meeples. Now you're not going to have separate meeples in your specific colors, because the thieves, think of it as like they're a roving band of mercenaries within this town, and so they're fairly interchangeable, and you're just going to be hiring them left and right and having them come and work for you. And as the game is played, thieves that you place in different locations to work will actually go to work for the thief who is like maybe casing the joint of the location that you just placed it on there. That'll make a little more sense here in just a little bit, but just keep that in mind. Also, there are very few places right now on the board where you can take actions. And also, the actions that are on the board are more for actually taking treasures, and this is what the discs represent, different treasures that you're going to allocate. The treasures that you collect will go in certain locations to activate other certain abilities, and I'll explain that a little more, obviously, when I get to the actions portion of this video. Over here, you have a very large deck of square cards. These are the fences. These are the people that are looking for certain treasures, and if you can deliver those to them, they're going to reward you with, well, just basically points. And this is how you, and points obviously are the way you win the game. So here you have this fence, and they want 1 purple treasure and 1 red treasure, and if you're able to do that, you're going to get 5 points for that. Now, in comparison, we have this gentleman, and he wants 2 purple treasures, a blue treasure, and a red treasure, and for that you're going to be rewarded with 10 points. So obviously, the more treasures you hand off, the more points you're going to be able to get in those situations. Each player, you might have noticed these 2 player boards down there. I have 2 player boards set up because this is a card drafting game, and I want to be able to show you 2 different hands, but you do not have 2 player boards. Each of these represents a single person. Now, there are technically up to 5 people can play this game, which is something I really like. I like games that allow me to play up to 5, but anyway, I'll talk about that in my final thoughts. But the player board, I love the player boards because of something that's really cool about it. They have these 4 treasure chests on either side, and those represent the 8 treasures, which are represented again by these discs. The 8 treasures that you're able to keep. So you can't just keep stockpiling treasures until later. Once you have 8 treasures, if you're ever going to get more, you would either have to use up treasures or replace them and discard the ones that you have if you wanted to switch them out. The other thing is that there's these 3 seats, and as you can see down here, each player starts with 3 thieves in their Thieves Den, and there are 6 possible places to place thieves, meaning, as you probably can guess, you can have 6 possible thieves. I just like when games have style that actually adds to the function, so it's an added little thing that kind of helps, with the rules. The other thing I really like is at the beginning of the game, each player is going to get one of these cards. And these cards, this is like kind of your scheme. And this is a way for you to earn extra points. If you claim locations, for every locations will have these symbols on them. I'll show this to you here in just a few moments. But these locations, if you have both of them in a set, you can earn 2 extra victory points at the end of the game. And so each person will get one of these. And if you'll notice, they actually, fit, like right here, like you can see on the board. Like if you look at it actually fits right there. So you can just put your scheme right on top of your board. You know where it is. Once again, that wasn't necessarily needed, but I think it is one of those cool things where, you have style and art that just kind of adds, once again, to like kind of the immersion factor and just how much fun the game is to be able to be played. Alright, so to begin the game, you have a scouting phase. And there are 3 different phases. There's a scouting phase, the thieving phase, which is kind of like an action section, and then a cleanup after you're done with that round. So during the scouting phase, what you're going to do is you're going to take, each person's going to get 4 cards. I'm just going to hand 4 cards over here to represent this player. I'm going to take 4 cards, 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'll put these down to represent that player. Alright, so each of them is going to have 4 cards, and what they're going to do is they're going to look at those cards, they're going to take one, if you ever played a drafting game, they're going to take one, so here, and I'll explain more about the cards here in just a moment, but they're going to look at these cards, they're going to try to decide what they want to do, maybe they want this one, they're going to place that, and they place it, face down in front of them, like so. Don't reveal it. And then they hand the other 3 off to the person to their left. But it isn't going to be always the same, because you are going to have this token that's going to have, like, for the first and third round, as you can probably guess, there are 3 rounds of this game. The first and third rounds, you'll go that way. Then you flip this over, because you'll go the other way when you hand off the cards during the second. So, you're going to do that. And then, these 3 go over here. I'm going to look at these 3 cards. And looking at them, so I have like 3 of these holy spots, and if I remember correctly, looking at this card, like holy was one of the things I wanted to look. So looking at these holy locations, which one do I want? I'll take this one. It's got a lot of stuff up here, and I'll explain this a little more in the future. And we'll take that one and we'll hand it out to the side. We pick that one to place down in front of us. But let me look at these location cards real quick, and I just want to tell you what they represent. Alright, so the symbol over here represents the type of building that we want, and so we have in this situation. And I'm not gonna let's just for the sake of demonstration, let's just assume these are the 4 cards I'm going to end up with, or I would have seen, and I would have placed in. I have to put in front of me as we gone through, and I'll place 3 down here in front of me in just a moment. But so we're looking for those 2 types of locations. I don't think I got any of the other ones, but that's okay. It's no big deal. So just going through. So each one, they have a name of it down here. this is the monastery. It has the type, that's a religious building. This means it's got an action space that allows people to place a thief in that location. And if they put a thief in that location, they'll get these 3 treasures. You sent a thief to steal from the monastery, they're going to steal these 3 things from the monastery. They take those treasures. This up here means the person that owns the building, or has cased the joint, I mean, it's a location card in front of me. What's going to happen is if somebody goes and uses this location of mine, I immediately get those treasures in that situation. Some of these cards, they have this little like instant like lightning bolt. If you place this card in front of you, you then immediately get to take the whatever the rewards are. So you know what? Somebody doesn't have to come here and steal from it. You know, you would get this treasure and you get another thief that you could place in your Thieves Den by placing that card. Some of them, like, you know, they have 3 different kinds. Here's a mansion, and this one's kind of cool. Like, so you have a whitesmith, and if somebody uses this one, this little color wheel down here means they can take any one treasure of any type. Now, obviously, you could use your own spots, but then you're not going to get the bonus. So when you have, let's just say we put like, and whatever, like, you're going to have 3 spots in front of you, and there's going to be one that you didn't use, and so that just goes to the discard. And so I'm covering up the scoring part here, but it really doesn't matter that much. So if we place those 3 there, and actually let's just grab these 3 over here, and I'll place these down as well. And maybe this player actually used this like as a special ability, so they just took, you know, they got they automatically got their 1 treasure and they got to place it. So let's actually take that treasure, and they took it and they place it in there like so. But then, you know, they have their locations as well. I'm running out of a little room here, but that's okay. So now, after everybody's got their 3 locations in front of them, this is kind of one of the cool things I like about this, is that, yes, it is like worker placement. It is a thief placement game, but the players create the worker spots each and every time that they play. Oh, and actually, I made a mistake there, because if they used an instant, that would be instantly, they get it, and they would only have 2 locations in front of them. So let's just go ahead and place those 2 in front of them like so. And it should be mentioned that when they have this, they're going to you get to keep a location card, and you place that face down next to your board, because once again, if you can match the same symbols that are on the your scheme that's over here, at the end of the game, those will be worth extra points. So now that you've gone through that process, and everybody's got their location cards in front of them that are available to be used, now people are going to be able to take 1 turn and then take an action. Next person goes, takes an action. Next person goes, takes an action. Now there's several different actions, and I'll talk about each of them here in just a moment. But at any point you can pass. But the moment you pass, you're like many games, you can't get back in. So once you pass, you want to make sure you pass when you obviously there's nothing else you want to do. Now there are when you pass, there is an added benefit. If you pass, there are certain actions that people can take that will enable certain locations, and I'll show you. Maybe I'll dig through the deck and find some, but that will actually target players. They'll be able to like steal treasures from them and so forth. If you've passed, nobody can target you at that point. So I mean, that's a little added bonus of when you pass, and actually that makes sense too, right? Because like maybe you've scuttled off, you've closed down the Thieves Den, and then they can't affect you. Alright, so what are the different actions that you can take? Now, the real obvious ones obviously are going to be taking your thief and placing them onto an action space on a card and taking that. So in this case, this player, because I placed it there, would get a purple treasure immediately, like so. And I would get a purple treasure, and I'd be able to take any other color of treasure that I wish. Now maybe I'm trying to shoot to get that guy over there, right? So I would get a purple one, and probably maybe I'm going to go and maybe if there's a purple here, this is purple, yellow, and green, so maybe I'm going to take a yellow one, just to have those 2. Maybe I got a plan. I got an idea of what I'm going to be doing. All right, so and you place those treasures on there like so. Another action that you can take is you can take 2 of your thieves, And if you place 2 thieves, oh, I apologize, you can't quite see that spot there. Let me move these treasures up here a little bit. This little spot right here, if you place 2 thieves on there, that allows you to take any one treasure of any color you want. It's just called burgling, and you just go to that location and you do so. So let's just take a green one for the just to kind of show you the next section, which was going to be taking a fence action. Now, normally I'm going to have a thief available. I don't have one available right now, so I'm going to cheat a little bit just so I can show you how the action works. To take a fence card, what you got to do is you got to match up the treasures they want. So this kind of scary looking lady wants a purple, a yellow, and a green. And so we can take that and I can place my thief on it, like so. And once I've claimed that, I get rid of the treasures and I place those on here again, like so. And I immediately take those 9 points. And so I'm going to say I'm the blue player, and so you can just move your scoring like so. And then when there's a space there, so what we're going to do is we're going to take the top fence and we're going to go ahead and place it into that location. You do that immediately. You don't wait until the end of the round. Now, since I I was running out of thieves, and you notice how I didn't have any take that action. Sometimes you will have an overload of treasures that you don't need. Let's say we had 3 purple treasures we don't need, but we're running out of thieves. You can, as an action, take any 2 color of treasures. You can go into the forest, the Thieves' Forest, and you can recruit a thief by depositing 2 treasures into there. Also, you can take treasures, and I'm going to move these out of the way here so I can show you this. This is the witch, and the witch wants certain treasures. Green are worth the most to her, and purple are worth the least. But so if this player wanted to get 4 quick points, they can go and they can place a green treasure on there and then get 4 points for doing so. Let's just say this is the yellow player. Now, these will stay on there throughout the round, so you can't have multiple people turn in green treasures. So once the spot is taken, you can take that. The last action you take are these powers that are up here, and this is you going to the wizard and offering him a treasure, and you get to enact one of the special powers that they have available. Now, there are 3 stacks of these, and there are 3 different cardboard tokens in each, and you actually do get extras, so you can't always guarantee that certain powers are going to be available in certain locations. Any one treasure, you can see that there is the kind of the universal color wheel there, so any one treasure can activate it. In some cases, there will just be something as simple as getting 3 extra points by placing a treasure in that spot, which is kind of cool because like if you had a purple treasure that would normally only be worth 1 over here, you can turn it over there and it's going to be worth 3. Some of them actually are kind of cool where with this special power, you get to take a thief from the forest and you get to then place the thief on another spot where a thief already is. It could be a fence that somebody has already taken, or it could be another location card that somebody's already placed that thief on there. So it's kind of one of those ways to just kind of break the rules, if you will. When you use it, you just take a treasure and you place it to the side, and that kind of shows you that it's been done and nobody else is able to do that. Alright, so you'll go through that entire turn until everybody has passed. Once everybody has passed, you will then go and you'll do the cleanup phase. The first part of the cleanup phase will be that if there are any thieves on the location cards that are above your player board, you're going to take those thieves and you're going to place them into your seats that are available. Once again, you can only have 6 thieves in that location. Then you'll take these 3 cards and you'll keep those to be able to look at later to earn extra points as per the scheme that you have. The second thing you'll do is you'll take whatever treasures that you have on the fence and you'll take those and remove them and put them back into the supply. You take any thieves that are on there and you place them back into the forest. Unlike the location cards, you do not get to place them onto your player board after the fact. Then you will take the fence cards and the same exact thing, you'll take them and you'll put them face down and you'll keep them till the end of the game. Each fence has a icon on them that's up here, and at the end of the game you will earn extra points for having the most of that icon depending upon what the other players have. Then you're going to return any treasure tokens that were on the power tiles. Then you remove the top power tile, so you put that there. You'd remove the top power tiles, and you'd reveal the next set of power tiles that would be available for the next round of the game. You return any thief treasures that were placed here to recruit thieves back into the supply. The same with any thief tokens that are in the burgle token. Place those back in the supply, and then remove the treasures from the witches' locations and return them. After all that is said and done, the player who is in last place will then get this tile, signifying them as the first player. They will flip it over so they know which way that the cards are going to be handed out and drafted in which direction. And then you're going to, give everybody 4 new location cards, and you're going to do the whole thing again. After the 3rd round is completed, you won't have any more rounds. You will see where everybody is as far as their points are concerned. You will go through your location cards and earn extra points for satisfying your secret objective that you have on your card. And then, and I'm just going to show you the page from the player, from the rules. Like, you have these different the different icons that are on the fences. So the most of these gain 2 and so forth, and up to 5. If you tie with somebody, nobody gets those points. So you don't want to tie, you want to be in first place. Then, after you total up the total prestige, whoever, or victory points, if you will, then they will be the winner of the game. If 2 people are tied, then the player with the most treasure and thief tokens left over on their player board after that last round will be the winner. If you're still tied, you can share the victory, or you can start up another game and play like a champion and try to outright win the next one. So there you go. That's Thieves Den. I've already told you a few of the things I really, really like about the game, as far as just like the style of it and the look of it. But I do like games where you kind of, like worker placement games, I should say, that you get to create the kind of the player board that is. And it does create lots of fun little interesting decisions that the players are going to be having to make as far as which cards they're going to want to place in front of them. Because they want to satisfy their scheme to earn extra points, but also they want to make sure that do you really want to put something out that the other players might want to use to because of the fact that maybe it gives a lot of treasures and those sorts of things. So there's fun little decisions that you have to make, and now I want to show you also, and I'll do this in my final thoughts, where I'll show you some of the other cards that have some like negative actions that you can use against the other players as well. All right, so let's do that. Oh, that was awesome. Anyway, there you go. That is Thieves Den. Now, there's a few things, and I mentioned them in the how to play as well, but a couple things I really like. 2 to 5 players. Thank you. I have nothing against a game that's only for 4 players, but it's just like I have a larger gaming group, and so when you actually have 5 people that want to play, then a game like this doesn't sit on the shelf. A game that I'm going to enjoy playing, that I'm excited to play with my friends, but we got 4 people, so let's play something else instead. So I really appreciate when games actually take the time to just get to that 5th player. I understand I might be in a situation where I have a larger gaming group on hand more often than not, but it's something I do appreciate. And I mentioned the 2-player game. I should mention that the 2-player game works really well. The setup is a little bit different because obviously with 2 players you wouldn't be just handing the cards back and forth during the drafting part. But I invite you to go ahead and look up the rules and read up on them if you are a person that plays 2-player games. I played this game 2-player with my daughter, and we really, really liked it. So I think it works really well and transposes well with all player counts excellently. So I dig the look of the game. I dig the style of the game. Those player boards, I'm going to say it again, the player boards are so cool. I mean, it's just like, how many treasures going to have? 8, because you have 8 treasure chests. How many thieves going to have? 6, because you got 6 seats. I mean, it just makes sense, right? You know, I like when designers and graphic design and illustrators like go to the extra effort to like just make that work. It just helps so much in like the getting into the game. Now, all that being said, if this was just like another game where you're just putting people down, collecting resources and doing your thing, all the art and all the cool little like verisimilitude decisions that were made with the layout wouldn't really matter. But I really like the whole card draft. I've always liked card drafting. I mean, really weirdly, I mean, it's just like my top three things in games are dice, and this is no order, dice, card drafting, and worker placement. Those are like the three things I really, really enjoy. And so here we have two of the three things that I just dig. I like card drafting. I like looking at the cards I have. I like handing them to somebody and knowing which ones I handed them and being able to kind of think of that and then seeing which card they picked and put down and revealed. You know, that's a little extra information. That's something that you can kind of keep in your mind, so the next time, it won't be the next round, but the last round, I'm going to be handing them cards again, and now I've got, they seem to have really, they gave up on those icons that I gave them. So, you know, it's just like one of those things where you can kind of store that extra little bit of info in your melon and try to make sure that they, you know, they don't pull that off. Plus, you know, just the whole idea of, hey, check out this really cool place, you can come and rob, but if you rob it, you're going to give me this. I like that as well. I just, there's just an extra level to the decision process that people are going to make that are going to be that you're kind of forcing somebody to have to do, and that's something I enjoy. Now, like I mentioned, that I wanted to show you like cards that actually can affect. Like, so here's like this witch hut, and I apologize if you can't quite see that, but they have this icon where it's basically it's destroying like one treasure that somebody has. So you can have, and this is a spot that is activated by placing a thief on it, and so when you do that, like you're able to go ahead and like actually reduce somebody in some way. Now, a lot of people don't really like games where you can actually attack other players, and I would say that this is very minimal as far as actually like, you know, directly like affecting somebody else through your actions. It doesn't happen very often, but I do dig that there's just a little bit, just a few of those spots, just a few of those options that people have, that so you can, you know, I mean, nothing stinks more when you see somebody just kind of running away with it, or when you see somebody in that situation where you're able to destroy a treasure, and you can see they have like all of the treasures needed to turn in, like, you know, like let's take a look at like this guy. Like here you have, you know, he's worth 14 points if you can turn it in, and you're looking over there, and like, but he's, you know, he's got one green treasure, and you're able to do that. You're able, and he's the next person that goes on your turn, and you destroy that green treasure. You take it away from him, you steal it from him, and all of a sudden now, you know, he had saved that one thief for the last action. He was gonna take that guy, and now he can't do it. I mean, I do like those moments, and they are, I would say, relatively uncommon, relatively rare within the game, but they happen just enough that it kind of, you know, elevates the game experience for me. You know, this is just one of those games that if people are familiar with worker placement games, that they're familiar with card drafting, you'll be able to teach the game to them 5-10 minutes, right? After that, it's just iconography, which, you know, they have an excellent player's aid that allows you to do that, and just like figuring out, maximizing your turn, you know, trying to make sure you do the best possible things that you possibly can do with your workers, which is another thing. I love the fact that these are basically just all neutral workers, and by, you know, and by putting really cool locations in front of you that people want to do, they're giving you thieves that you get to use next turn, and that's awesome, because thieves are tough to recruit. I mean, you got to give up 2 treasures normally to get them. So by, you know, you giving people, you're giving them actions next turn, and so you have to kind of weigh that, and just, I love those tough decisions. It's like, oh well, I'm taking this stuff and I need to take it, but I'm also handing you like next turn abilities, which, oh man, yeah, exactly. So stuff like that, I just dig it. But as I was saying, you could teach this game in like 5, 6, 7, 10 minutes, and even like somebody who's never played a game like this before, you're gonna dive in quickly, and people are gonna understand what's what, and they're gonna be able to enjoy themselves. And the thing is that once, like, this is one of those games, because, like, the rules will just slide away. You're not going to have somebody, you know, their face buried in a rule book trying to explain a certain rule to somebody. You're just going to be able to just relax, enjoy the people that are at the table, and also just kind of just be able to focus on the mechanisms of the game and focus on playing the best game you possibly can, instead of just trying to figure out rule A.4.B and making sure that you didn't do that part wrong. But anyway, there you go. That is Thieves Den. If you like worker placement, if you like card drafting, if you like this kind of cool fantasy theme, I think you're going to love putting this one on your game shelf. So when you have 2 to 5 people at your house that want to play a super cool game, you'll have this one to play. Alright, so if you have any questions about Thieves Den, please ask me. I'll be happy to answer those as best as I can. As always, thank you very much for taking the time to watch this video. Until next time, I am the Undead Viking, telling you to have yourself one heck of an awesome day. Alright, bye-bye.